This is a day we will never forget, and what happened 23 years ago must be understood by future generations.
When America was attacked by terrorists in New York City and Washington, an effort to fight back against them came to an heroic end in southwestern Pennsylvania. Today, President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and former President Donald Trump, they all helped lead this day of remembrance, and all three appeared today at the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, about 4.5 hours south of Buffalo.
Channel 2's Ron Plants traveled there yesterday to better understand its significance and to speak with a relative of one of those on board that plane.
There's something very special about this site, about this sacred ground, and the closer the people get to sacred ground, you can feel a presence here. You can feel that spirit of heroism.
Gordon Felt from the Utica area helps represent the families of Flight 93. His then 41-year-old brother, Edward, a married father of 2 daughters, was on a business trip aboard that United jetliner. The passengers had learned from phone calls what happened with planes hitting the New York City towers and the Pentagon in Washington. It was later determined that the target of the hijackers of Flight 93 was the U.S. Capitol, 20 minutes away by air.
It happened very quickly. At first we got news that Ed, was gone. Knowing that, he was part of that first battle that was won against the terrorist, kind of helps me process the senselessness of what happened that day. When we first came to this site, shortly after September 11th, and we saw the crater in the ground, and we could smell the jet fuel, and we saw the destruction and the death. We also saw people holding up signs and waving flags. That's when it really hit home that this is more than just the loss of a brother, a dearly loved brother that helped to do something extraordinary.
Parts of this memorial were dedicated back in 2011. More has been added since then. This memorial is designed to give you a much better sense of what happened in the skies above and on this hallowed ground back on September 11th, 2001. The now 2,200-acre memorial site run by the National Park Service is focused towards the original 50-acre debris field marked by this boulder as the inverted plane traveling 600 miles an hour struck the ground. The memorial includes the polished wall inscribed with the names of the 40 passengers and crew members, mentioning one as a mother-to-be. Those panels interlock to simulate them banding together to battle the terrorist.
Above us on the ridge overlooking the crash site is the Visitor Center. The Visitor Center also frames that flight path, those 2 giant portal walls, kind of focusing your eyesight straight ahead, telling the story through timestamps there, what happened during the morning. And then when you open up through that opening, you see what happens here in this open field. That visitor center has various exhibits and even recordings from home answering machines of the passengers and crew calling loved ones to say farewell. There is also a 93-foot Tower of Voices with 40 tuned wind chimes to represent the victims, including Gordon Felt's brother Edward.
There was heroism in New York and at the Pentagon and here that day, and I think that it's critical that people visit all 3 of the sites to get the full picture of the scope of the events.
From Shanksville, Pennsylvania, Ron Plants, Channel 2 News.